Hello everyone to the NaNoWriMo Wrap Up meeting. So first I'm going to talk about what NaNoWriMo is. I mean, by now, hopefully everybody should know what it is because you're here, but National Novel Writing Month is also known as NaNoWriMo, and that is a month where you spend 30 days writing a novel. The goal is 50,000 words, but it is totally okay if you don't hit that goal because I don't. I almost never do, but it is still a great goal to have. It's about the, average length of a novel. So, introducing myself, my name is Dana. I am a youth services specialist here at Michigan City Public Library. I have been doing Nano probably around 10 years now, on and off. I think I have 7 projects that I've started that are technically National Novel Writing Month projects. Um, I still have never won, but for me, it's not about winning the challenge, it is about participating in the challenge. And I am very proud of every year that I've participated, and I really love doing this because it's really that kick in the pants to get started that I don't normally have. And I have continued Nano projects even after Nano is over, which is a goal everybody should have too, I think, especially if you don't finish your Nano project. You should try to finish it just when you can. Um, I read and write young adult fantasy and science fiction. That is what I like to do. That's what I like to read. That's what I like to write. So, my project this year is a story called Kill Me with a Kiss. It is a young adult fantasy about a girl who is trying to bring back her father from the dead. And it is also about a prince whose kiss can kill living beings. So the two happen to meet, and they are trying to use each other to get to their goals. And they don't realize their goals kind of are sort of similar. So it is mostly a fantasy with a bit of a romance element, but I really haven't felt this passionate about a project in a while. Last year I did horribly. I think I wrote 2,000 words in total. I didn't really write anything. And then this year I ended up with 15,400 words, which is right on par for me. The best I've ever done on Nano is 22,000 words, and the worst was the other year when I did about 2,000 words. Um, and the 22,000 word manuscript, I believe, was finished, needed a lot of editing, needed a lot of zhuzhing, adding scenes, and editing, basically. And I wrote another manuscript that was about 15,000 words, and that one was also finished. 15,000 words is looking at around 50 pages. The 22,000 word document is about 75 pages. So technically, neither of those are, ready, set, let's print it off. But it's more of just, I got this done, and like, look, I have something that I've finished. And that is makes me so proud, regardless of, I hit 50,000 words or not. I finished a manuscript. So that was, for me, I felt like I won, even though I technically didn't. But again, it's more about getting the process started than writing 50,000 words. So my goal was 50,000 words. So I fell quite a bit short, but I am still really proud of what I've written. I'm hopefully going to continue to write this manuscript through the next month and see how that goes. I really like what I've done with it so far, even though things kind of got off track while I was writing. I call myself a plantster, which is halfway between a pantser, which is somebody who writes with no plan, they just go, and a planner who has a plan and sticks to their plan. I'm right in between those two because I like to have an outline, but I don't necessarily follow it to a T. I rather follow where my writing takes me, and if that is not exactly what I came up with on my outline, I'm okay with that. So that's how I do my writing, um, and that's what works for me. I found that I write best when my mind can wander, so it's nice and quiet. There isn't a whole lot going on. Nighttime is usually my best writing time, or at least in the evening. I think something that will help me achieve the goal that I am looking for next year, at least, will be to write every single day. The days that I was writing, I was putting out a lot of words. So I really feel like if I try to stick to writing every single day of the month, I think I can hit the 50,000 words, or at least I'll be able to finish the manuscript I start. And that is a win for me, honestly. So my goal next year is to write every single day, and that is very difficult for me because I have a lot of stuff going on. But making sure that I take that time to write is very important, and that is a habit I'd like to start right now, is to start writing every single day, even if it's just a little bit. And I think that will help, and it will help me achieve my goal for next year. For me, writing is a passion that I'd like to become a career, but I know that that is a big challenge to get into the publishing industry, and not only to just get in, but to be successful. So um, I love working in the library. It is honestly my dream job, so I don't think I could ever give this up. But if writing is your passion, I highly encourage you to really throw yourself into NaNoWriMo, see what kind of a manuscript you get, and then work on it and publish it. Tons of NaNoWriMo projects have been published as actual novels and they become hits. I'm pretty sure Marissa Meyer wrote Nano, I think it was Cinder, which is the first in her Lunar Chronicle series. I think that was a National Novel Writing Month project. You'd be surprised at how many authors uh, publish their NaNoWriMo projects. Of course, it goes through a lot of editing before it gets to the point where you're actually reading it, but it starts out as that kind of a project, and I would love to do that as well, is to have a project that I wrote for NaNoWriMo become my first published book, possibly. That would be so cool. Some advice that I have for writers, young and old, is to write the books that you want to read and to write the story that is in your heart, because nobody else can write that story the same way. If you're looking for a book about a zombie falling in love with a werewolf or something like that, and what you found isn't exactly what you want, write the story you want, because I'm sure other people are also looking for that story. And I think it is so the only way you can really make it as a writer is to be 100% dedicated and interested in the things that you're writing. And if you are a huge zombie fanatic, then this might be the story that only you can write. And you should go for it. I have nothing else to say but just go for it. The worst that can happen is that you have this partially written manuscript on your computer that you can come back to in a few years and be like, oh yeah, I remember the story. I love doing that with my old projects. So I'd like to read an excerpt from my story, and if you would like to critique it, please be kind, but free to go ahead and critique my story. This is going to be the prologue. It's a little long, but I will try to keep it Interesting. The storm made my dirty work much harder than it needed to be. My feet couldn't find purchase in the mud, and the shovel kept slipping from my hands and sending biting splinters into my palm. But I ground my teeth and kept digging. The grave was fresh, only a few hours old, but the rain made it a challenge. I paused, remembering the funeral. It was small, but then Haven had always been a small town. It was the type of town where everyone knew everyone, especially the renowned alchemist who had recently passed away. There were rumors of foul play, but I knew better. I knew he had simply passed in his sleep, as kind a death as anyone could hope for. I bit my lip to keep from crying out. The pain in my hands, the pain of the loss of the alchemist, it was almost too much to bear. With a hard thunk, the shovel finally hit the wooden box holding the body. I scooped mud with my hands out, trying to uncover as much of the box as possible. With the divine timing of a bright flash of lightning, I drove the shovel down on the box as hard as possible. The fresh wood held. I continued to try and chop open the box with the shovel, all while concerned someone might hear me. "Come on," I grunted with a final swing. The wood splintered and cracked. Using my already wounded hands, I pried up one end. The body inside still looked as fresh as he did yesterday morning. My breath caught in my throat, and the tears I'd been furiously keeping back finally spilled over. My father looked as peaceful in death as he had been in life. I love hearing what other people think of my work, so please feel free to leave a comment if you'd like. I love to work on my writing and learn more about the craft. I constantly am reading about writing, and we do have some writing manuals in the library if that's something you're interested in. You can always ask at reference or find me in news services and I can help you find that. Um, but I love to learn about writing and I love to see how my writing has changed throughout the years. So thank you for joining me for this little NaNoWriMo chat. I hope that we can do this again next year and hopefully we can all meet our goals and exceed them and do even better and continue to do better every year.